Hi guys and welcome to yet another devcast. Today I'm going to talk about updates on the instance painter. You may be confused because why instance painter, what updates? I didn't mention any instance painter previously. Yeah, because I mentioned prefab painter like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but it actually went through a renaming. It actually went through a renaming twice in a span of 2 weeks, so let's hope it will not get renamed. And why it was renamed. Uh, Firstly, because instancing, I want to point out that this is painting instances, not prefabs, because prefabs may be complex objects with scripts and so on. This is just instances for very performant rendering of geometry or of the same type inside your scene. And secondly, it was remained because I was pointed out by someone else that there is already a prefab painter in the asset store. So there is a tool called Prefab Painter, which is I checked it out. It's slightly different. It does have a similar tooling to mine, but it's not for the same use case. So it doesn't paint instances and so on. It's just a tool to help you paint your prefabs into the scene. So uh, I've put together this simple scene. I already erased it, so it's just for the screenshot, just to showcase the the painting and some new features of the instance painter that have been added. I've been working on it intensively, even this weekend because we are going to use it on our project, which is on a tight deadline. So I will add a lot of features, and as you know, especially if you know me, if I'm working on a feature, I get an idea of 10 different features, and I always branch into new features and new stuff, and that what could help the guys to put the scene together better. And then there are just a lot of things that need to be fixed as well, because you encounter a problem, and then there are for example, just in last 2 days I've encountered two bugs in Unity. There are two big bugs in Unity. One has to do with raycasting or picking objects inside editor that doesn't work for terrains using a filter, and the second was that it sometimes returns non-normalized hit normals, which is it's a normal, it should be normalized. So just to let you know, the second bug is very easily fixed by normalizing after yourself, but the first bug unfortunately is not easily fixed, because and so you cannot pick up colliders inside the scene using specified filters. I will put this as a bug report to Unity, so they will know, and hopefully they will fix it. Or maybe it's even fixed in 2021, but I'm focusing on 2020 Unity. So let's jump straight to Unity to show you the new features and the changes that I did. This is a simple scene from our game that will be released, as I said, on tight schedule. So I'm working with this scene just to paint and work with the same data our guys do. So first thing you can see is that I added a lot of like information about what's going on, because a lot of the things that you do here are based on keyboard shortcuts. So just mind this information if you are not sure how some of the things work in the painter. Secondly, I've offsetted the paint definitions to scriptable objects, so you don't really add the paint definitions directly here and modify them. You can add them, but then you can need to specify a scriptable object that holds the definition. This is because a lot of the times I've painted grass, then I changed it to a tree, and then I wanted a grass again, and I had to recreate it and so on. So now all the artists can create the paint definitions they want, and then they use it as they need. So you can also disable. So you can have, for example, three active paint definitions for the same stroke, but you can disable them, and which is similar to how I use the weight probability to 0 in my previous video, but it's not the same, and I will show you. So let's say I have this grass here. Let's paint some grass. and then I disable the grass and enable trees and paint some trees. So, and if I go here to erase, there is a new function, not just for erase, for different tools as well, but it's to erase only active definitions, to only work with the active definitions. So if I go and erase stuff now, it will only erase trees, or let's say I only want to erase grass. So I check this, that I only want to work on the active definition, and it will automatically know that this is the instance that's using this definition, and it will be deleted. If I uncheck this, it will delete all the instances I've worked with. So let's go to grass again, and let's paint some grass. You can use mouse wheel to increase the brush size. Control mouse wheel, it's the information is here. And additional feature now, because the renderer supports it out of the box, since I took a lot of the stuff from the rendering of my voxel experiments. It also supports color information, so I've added the option to colorize the instances. You can even paint them with a specified color, so but you can colorize them later. Keep in mind that this green is part of the mesh color data, so the colorization will multiplied with this color. So the grass is not by default white. So let's say that I am painting it white. You see it's not changing to white because it's white multiplied by the color information from the vertex data. So if I want to multiply it by this gray, I can just set it to this gray. So let's say I want to white again, it will multiply it with white. You can also specify alpha, so you can have a more smooth painting of the of the instances. So each stroke is adding just this part of the color, but similar to any painting program. Also, I can say here is that there were additional shaders added to this renderer, and one of them is this one that I'm using for the grass. As you can see, it supports the wind force, so there is a wind for the grass, and also as you can see, it's using billboarding. So this shader is specifically used for grass because we want to use billboarding in our grass, so it will always face the camera. So that's a billboarded. Whereas if I paint the trees, let's say I want to paint the trees, they don't use obviously billboarding, and they also support shadows, whereas the grass doesn't support shadows. You can put a shadow to the grass if you change the shader, but this is automatically supported for the trees based on the material. You now set the material directly in the paint definition, so you don't really need to override it on the instance painter. You set the material there, and as you can see, the grass also supports shadowing, so the shadow of the trees is visible on the grass as well. And also we can paint the trees in the same way that we painted the grass. There was also a lot of optimizations done for the tool, and still a lot of optimizations that will be done. And also there were some hiccups because I weren't using material property blocks and so on. So if you had two different models using the same material, they got overwritten and so on. It was all fixed. So now it should render using a single material, no need to duplicate materials. Additional feature that was added was new tool, rectangle, so rectangular tool. So for example, I want to paint these trees with 200 on density, and let's say a minimal distance of 1. Oh, that was erase. I'll just drag it like here, and it will be automatically filled. And if you are using Shift, you can erase the instances. So, for example, we can even fill the whole. I would need to add the instances, obviously. So let's add some more, and so on. You can fill it like this. Additional thing that's shown right here is that I was asked if this supported terrains, so I explored this information that if it should work with terrain, but it didn't work with terrains. Now it worked. The reason is that this is just a mesh filter. We don't use colliders because we don't need them in our game. So it's just a mesh, and I was doing all the raycasting, all the logic on the mesh itself. So there was no raycasting for colliders. I added these supports. So it supports all colliders. So for example, this one is plain. It's a collider. It's not. And also I have this terrain here just to. Oh, I added 2000 instances. No, I don't want 2000. I want 20 instances. And you can use the paint tool to paint on a terrain. So it's a standard Unity terrain with a terrain collider. So let's erase these. Okay, I need to enable the terrain. Erase these. And so on. And one more feature that I added that we will need for our game uh, is sculling based on modifiers, similar to how now meshes work. So now instance painter that holding the renderers has this modifiers array or modifiers list. You can add let's let's say I want some houses, and I have my houses here, some houses. Okay, okay. Let's put it up here. So I have this house, and I want that the trees doesn't touch. So for example, in a game, I place this house here, and I don't want the trees to be there. So I can specify on the painter specifically for that instance I want to affect. So and I can put it like this. So now there is if I there is a culling happening based on the volume of this mesh. It's expanded by a constant. This constant will be modifiable. There is a lot of stuff on the to-do list I'm working on as well for this. So you will be able to use colliders. You will be able to use special classes called modifiers that work with this system. There will be a lot of options how to affect this scaling. So if I duplicate it, it will work for both of them because I specified this object as the modifier, so it will go over all the meshes inside this hierarchy and remove the instances in the bound box. If I specify this for the grass as well, it will work for the grass as well. there is this sometimes issue with rendering because in the that's just for the editor time. Inside the editor, the rendering and the hiding is not always in a synchronous manner, though it's not happening in a correct order. But I may try to fix it, but that's just a problem for the Unity time rendering, so doesn't affect the runtime. So if I remove this from the grass will be under the houses again. So additionally, uh, if I just check this mesh, for example, this has 11 submeshes. Till now, the painter didn't support meshes with multiple submeshes, but now it does. So I can even paint. Let's just erase everything. I can now paint complex objects. So let's say I want to paint the house. I have one of them here, and I want density, let's say 500 density. I want some houses. So it will automatically paint these and with the correct submeshes and so on. And there is some kind of randomization happening with this painting information. Also, there is a support for multiple meshes inside the prefab. So let's say I want something like this. Okay, sorry, I had a problem with the missing prefab because I refreshed the assets, so the house wasn't rendered. But now I fixed the prefab, so we have this prefab with multiple meshes, not just the mesh with submeshes, which is the house, but also the additional meshes, which are the trees. And now it will paint so it will automatically know that okay, these are the meshes, I need to assign these renderers and so on, and all these trees will be added to the same renderer. For example, if I just switched this to the tree again, so these trees would add to the same renderer that these use, because it automatically correctly knows that these are the same meshes, so it can be instantiated together. So no need to worry that it's instantiate based on the prefab definition. It correctly instantiates on the mesh data. So that's all for now. This modification will also work with the current paint definition and so on in the future, but now it works as I mentioned it in the previous video. It will be changed. So that's all for now. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to show. I hope you like it. The release is coming in hopefully 1-2 weeks. Obviously, in this week, it will definitely get released into our company just for our guys to use, but it will be later released to public. And if you have any further questions, like the great question about the terrain before, let me know. And any feedback is welcome as usual. Thanks for watching.